Hello and welcome to the channel. I am here for an album review for you guys. Now for this review, I'm going to be reviewing Declaration, the new album by the band Red. Now I've been a fan of Red for many years, of course, as some of you know. And yeah, I got into these guys around when they only had 3 albums, and it's really it's just kind of surprising that, I'm still a fan and now they have 7 albums out now. So yeah, I've also seen Red in concert twice now. Really good band to see live, of course. And yeah, this new album Declaration came out. Now, I'm going to be honest. Whenever this album was coming out, I can't say that I was too excited for it. Just by the singles, the songs themselves were um, kind of underwhelming. I didn't think that there were anything really special for Red. I guess you could say they just felt like standard Red. But over time, as I've, uh, I guess obligated myself to go back to these songs more, this album is actually really good, and a lot of the songs have actually grown on me quite a bit. And I will gladly say that I do think that this is Red's best album probably since of Beauty and Rage. I definitely think it's a lot better than their last album, Gone, which I thought was their weakest album. Now, to say that it's their best since of Beauty and Rage, I guess isn't saying much since, that was only a couple of albums ago. But you get the idea, Their album Gone really felt like a misstep in Red's career. And one of the things I can really appreciate about Declaration is the fact that I feel like Red in this album is trying to go for a more metal influenced sound. This is probably the heaviest album that Red has ever put out, honestly. Before this album, I think it was of Beauty and Rage that was their heaviest album, and their darkest album too. Still might be their darkest, but their heaviest, I don't know. I gotta give it to Declaration as far as the heaviest goes. But yeah, this album is only 10 tracks long, which, is something I've been kind of disappointed in. I've also been kind of disappointed in the fact that they've released 5 singles before the album came out, which is definitely a good way to harm the album. But I do have to say that, even with that in the way, I still think this album is really solid. So yeah, let's go ahead and talk about some of these tracks. Of course, last year they came out with The Evening Hate and From the Ashes, those 2 songs. Those were the first couple of singles, and I think those are really good songs. From the Ashes was always one of my favorites of the singles, and I was also kind of disappointed that that was the closing track since, I don't know. I don't think releasing the closing track as a single is really ever a good idea, because it kind of spoils the finale, you could say, and I feel like that's what they kind of did. But I can definitely see why they chose From the Ashes as the closing track, though. But we'll get into that more. So this album does open up with All For You, which I'll admit, when this came out as a single, I was not crazy about it, but it has grown on me over time. I like Michael Barnes' vocal delivery in this song. It's actually really good. This is nowhere near one of the best album openers that Red has done. Not even close. I think Red has definitely opened up their albums better than this, but it's still a good song. And of course, there's Infidel, another solid track. War We Made was another one of the singles. I think that was the last single that Red came out with before the album dropped. And I like how anthemic, I don't know if anthemic is the right word to describe this song, but it's very upbeat and just, very fun to listen to, very energetic, has a real high energy to it, and yeah, I really like this song. It kind of reminds me of older Red, like songs like Already Over. So yeah, War We Made is a really good song. And what's another one? Float is definitely a song worth mentioning as well. This is probably the heaviest song that Red has ever put out. This song is like borderline metalcore. Honestly, it really is. This song could pass as maybe even in new metal territory like Slipknot, this could pass as maybe like a Slipknot B-side. Now, not exactly, of course, but I did hear somewhere that Red was influenced by Slipknot, so maybe they were, kind of expressing that influence with this song. But yeah, Float, it's a real heavy one, and yeah, it's one of the heaviest songs, probably is the heaviest Red song, I'd say. And probably one of my favorites of the non-singles. Same could be said about Cauterize. I love Cauterize, one of my favorites on the album, of course. Definitely different and unique, I think. I like the flow and the structure of the song. And Michael Barnes' vocal delivery is, of course, one of the main highlights. And yeah, very great song. Same could be said about Only Fight. Now, I've heard some people say that Only Fight was the weakest track on the album. Not sure if I would go that far. Sure, it's a little different, but I do like this song. It's definitely different. It's a very different song for Red, I think. But yeah, definitely another great song. Is it one of my favorites? Not sure if I'd go that far, but still, I think it's a really good song. And of course, like I said, The Evening Hate was the first single. Decent choice as the first single. Of course, Sever was another one of the singles. That was probably my favorite of the singles. And then From the Ashes, of course. From the Ashes, I think is a single that's not really getting enough attention from fans. I really like this song, actually. I just like the structure of this song. I like Michael Barnes' vocal delivery, especially when he says the line "We Rise." I think that's what he's saying. I really like that part of the song. I just like the melody within his vocals and the instrumentation. And I also really like the violin section at the end. I think that is a neat little thing to add to the song, and it was a good way to close off the album, I think. But yeah, there's not really much to say about this album because it's a very short album, only 10 tracks. But you know what? For what it is, it's a really good album. This album actually pleasantly surprised me. It's actually better than I thought it would be, honestly. Now, this is not one of Red's best albums by any means, but I definitely think it's a great album. So, as a score, I will have to give Declaration by Red an 8.7 out of 10. Either an 8.7 or an 8.5. One of those scores. I don't know. I'm kind of stuck in between those two scores. But yeah, still think it's a really good album. Again, not one of Red's best, but I still think it's a really great album. I think it's better than Gone for sure. Probably better than Release the Panic. But I don't know about the others. It may be on the same level as Until We Have Faces, though. I don't know, though. But yeah. I did go ahead and order a copy of the album, too, so I will have that coming in the mail. I bought it off the band's store. So, yeah. And yeah, I'm really liking this album, guys. So let me know what you guys think. What do you guys think of Red's new album, Declaration? Feel free to let me know your thoughts, and I would highly recommend this album if you are a fan of bands like Breaking Benjamin, 3 Days Grace, Shinedown, Linkin Park, or even Slipknot. I'd recommend this album to fans of any of those bands. If you're a fan of any of those bands, give this album a chance. Now, I wouldn't say that this is necessarily a good starting point for Red fans. The album to start with would probably be one of their first two albums, End of Silence or Innocence and Instinct, of course. But yeah, that's my review. Thanks for watching. Have a nice day, and take care.